Hey guys, Trouble1701 here, and today we are going to be reviewing Earthshock with the Fifth Doctor. Now, of course, this is a very famous Doctor Who story with a very good reputation, and I have to say, it deserves that reputation. I'd had it in my head, I was like, man, Revenge of the Cybermen and Earthshock are pretty much the same story, they're almost the same. Why does Revenge get crapped on so much and Earthshock held in such high regard? And it was bothering me. So I decided, you know what I need to do? I need to re-watch Earthshock. 'Cause I've seen Revenge many times. And I've seen Earthshock a couple times as well, but it's been a while since I watched it, when the box set came out. And I have to say, having watched it again, I think part of what elevates Earthshock is there is a more grandness to it. It seems more like an event. There's just more going on to it. It seems bigger scale. For a classic Doctor Who budget, it just seems like it's done on a bigger scale. I think all of the main cast are doing fine in it. Nyssa is kind of in the TARDIS, but it's good. It's nice to kind of have somebody kind of guarding the base, so to speak, keeping up with all the technical sides of things. Tegan is really good here. She gets a lot to do. She gets to do some running and shooting. It's kind of nice to see action Tegan. I love the fact that even Tegan in the episodes is just like, I'm just a legs with a mouth. Or I'm just a mouth with legs. I love that. I got a good chuckle out of that. It's nice to see her kind of get out and running around. Davison is fine in this. I love that when he's running around with his hat just rolled up in his hand. He does that a lot in this story where he's just running around with his hat in his hand rolled up. Excuse me. I really like that he has a hat that he can roll up into like a newspaper and bop somebody on the nose with. I don't know why, but that just seems like a very doctorish thing to me. Let me just take my hat up. Bop! Don't do that. I don't know. And then, of course, Adric is good in his final story. Matthew does a fine job in his final story, which I think is one of the reasons why the episode is so iconic, is Adric's death. That was, while much more common in the modern series, a companion death in Classic Who was very rare. It was a very big deal. And especially the fact it was a needless death. When you actually go back and watch the story, it was a needless death. It didn't need to happen. It was Adric trying to solve a problem that didn't need solving because it was something that historically was supposed to happen anyway. I like the cliffhanger to episode 1. Especially taking in context, this is the first time the Cybermen show up in 8 years on the show, because the last time they showed up was Revenge of the Cybermen, which was like 1975, and I think this story was like 83, 82, 83, so it's about 8 years or so. I think it had edged into 83 at this point, being toward the end of the season. So let's say around an 8-year gap. So that really makes, especially with the new design, this is the first time we see the 80s design of the Cybermen, which is a really good design. And it does a really good job of hiding the fact that Cybermen are there. Like, you know, nothing about Cybermen is even in the title. It's just called Earthshock. And then, of course, you see the soldiers getting killed in episode 1 by those little android-looking things that very much remind me of the later Raston robot. Speaking of which, I like episode 1, not kind of knowing what's going on. I like the little android robots. I like the simplicity to them. It works. And the way they kill people looks brutal. While you don't see it, you see the remains of the soldiers, and that's just gruesome. It's like it incinerates them or something. Like you see that one soldier's, like Snyder or whatever their name tag, just in this puddle of goo. Burnt, melted goo. And the way they film it with the guy just seeing the lights go out on the screen, which is the soldiers' lives, is really well done. Also, the outside footage there looks really good. Since season 19 does have the film elements for the location where it does survive, it can be scanned into true HD, and we really only get that at the beginning of this story when they're outside the cave. That still looks really good, really, really good. So I really like episode 1 when you kind of have this thing, or these androids just kind of picking off the soldiers in the dark. Man, this story really uses lighting well. They make note of that in the making of documentary for the story. It really makes good use of lighting. There's a lot of low lights in this, which also I think helps elevate it above Revenge, whereas Revenge is very well lit, because a lot of 70s Doctor Who was just very brightly lit. So you can just get, different camera angles. a lot easier. But this one, they really used lighting to build tension, not only in episode 1 in the caves, but later on the ship. There's a lot of low lights and dim lights in sections, and I think that comes off very effectively and helps set the mood and builds tension. The reveal at the end when it is the Cybermen it's an excellent cliffhanger. Destroy them at once. I love that. I love the fact that the Cyber leader recognizes the TARDIS when he sees it. I like the fact that the Cybermen remember the TARDIS, that as soon as he sees it, he's like, no, what's that? That's a TARDIS. A TARDIS, but the Time Lords don't get involved. This one belongs to the Doctor, and he does nothing but get involved. I like the fact that as soon as he sees it, he's like, no. And that he remembers the events. You know, it even shows the previous footage of, like, the first Doctor, the second Doctor, and the fourth Doctor. That's pretty cool. I did watch it with the enhanced special effects from the DVD, by the way. I want to point that out. I do like the enhanced effects a lot better. There's not a lot, I think, that's enhanced. I know the laser beams that the soldiers shoot is improved, and some of the shots at the end, like the ship crashing into Earth, is way better. But I did watch it with the enhanced version on. It does make those laser blasts look not silly. So I like the fact they recognize the TARDIS. That's really good. I like that this cyber design. I like the way the Cybermen talk in this one, because I can actually understand what they're saying. I have some issues with some of the '60s stories, like with Troughton when they're talking, and I'm just like, what? So I actually like the fact. I can understand what they're saying, but their voice still has a cool modulation to it. Revenge was the same way. So that's pretty neat. I enjoy the episode 2 cliffhanger, right when the Doctor finds the 2 dead crew members of the Adric, and that one guy's like, we execute murderers on this ship, or whatever he says. That's pretty cool. I like him, too, because I didn't expect him to be, spoilers ahead, I didn't expect him to be the traitor, because at first he seems so concerned, like, when the captain's like, you'll have a bonus on your, it'll be an extra part of your bonus for capturing him. He's like, I'd rather have my 2, subordinates alive, when it turns out he's actually the one that let the Cybermen on board. So that was interesting. Of where I thought he was very professional, I thought he actually was a little caring. Turns out, no, he's just a brick. The casting of the captain, I know that was apparently a bit of stunt casting. I'm not really familiar with that actress. Again, I live in the States, so a lot of the stunt casting in 80s too that J&T is known for kind of goes over my head. I only know about it from watching documentaries about it. I think she does fine, though. Because she doesn't strike me as having to play a military captain. She plays like, while they call her captain, she's more like the captain of the company. Like it's a trading company or a salvage company. Like a private company. Kind of like the Weyland-Yutani and Alien, And so she's more a businesswoman. That's why she's trying to get there and get her business, get her bonus. She's concerned with her bonus. She doesn't strike me as an actual military captain. And as a business captain, I don't know. And if it's because she doesn't seem like she fully knows what she's doing, maybe originally it was her husband's business and he passed away and she took over the business. I don't know. But for that kind of captain, someone who's running a private business, her mannerisms make way more sense than her as a military captain, which I like. And for doing the part, I think she does fine. I know it mentions in the making of she had no idea what was going on, didn't understand the script at all, but I think she's fine. I like the fact that they have a female captain in a story that came out in like 1983. I think that's impressive. It would be another 12 years before Star Trek would have a female captain in Voyager, well, at least for the main character of the show in Voyager. So I think that's pretty neat to have a female captain in 1983. I think that's pretty impressive. And I like the fact that a lot of the security guards in the military unit, not security guards, but the military officers in the caves were female as well. They were just right in there with the men, fighting and shooting it out. Again, I think for 1983, that's pretty impressive. I think the guy who plays the lieutenant, the main leader of the unit, I think he does a really good job. The guy with the mustache, he does a really good job. He definitely has that kind of leader voice that he uses for the story. I think he's good here. I like it, kind of their reaction to the TARDIS when they walk in, like... The episode 3 cliffhanger is really, really good when all the Cybermen start waking up. Because a lot of times Classic Who suffers from all right, we need to make it look like there's an army of Daleks or an army of Cybermen, and we have 4 to work with, so we'll have to use various camera angles. It actually pulls this off really well at making you think there are a lot of Cybermen here. I mean, not as good as the stuff they can do in the modern show, of course, but it's actually really impressive. That it really adds to what I said earlier about that sense of scale being larger than, say, Revenge of the Cybermen. When you see all these Cybermen busting through and then marching along, and that ending shot of, like, it's pretty much the same Cybermen walking down the corridor, but it's like multiplied by 3. It's very, very effective. It's a really good cliffhanger, and I made a mental note of that as I was watching it. I'm like, they did that really well. That whole sequence is just shot really, really well to give you that sense of, holy crap, there's a lot of them. They pull that off really, really well. And again, I like the rest of the story. I like the ending. It's nice to see the Doctor fail. With the console damaged, he couldn't save Adric. Although it's weird when he's like, there's not much time. And I'm sitting there going, you're a Time Lord. There's always plenty of time. After you fix the console, you can just reappear on the ship right before it crashes into Earth around him and disappear off like, you know, like the Ninth Doctor does with Jack to save him in Jack's first story, the Doctor Dances. You just teleport the TARDIS around Adric and teleport it away and boom. But it is compelling, I think. One, it gets rid of Adric, and I didn't really like Adric with the 5th Doctor. He was fine with the 4th Doctor, didn't really like him with the 5th Doctor. I thought the TARDIS was too crowded anyway, so I think one of the companions needed to go. I think that's a good way to go out, especially for Classic Who, since a character dying like that was a big deal. I love the fact it was still Adric's star that enabled him to stop the Cyber Leader by crushing it into his little unit right here. The little, I don't want to say breathing unit because they don't breathe, but whatever that is, gunks up their equipment. Although I did think the bit when the little star was crushed up on the ground and the credits were running with no music was a little on the nose and tacky. But I guess for the time it worked. But looking back at it now, I'm kind of like... But I don't really have a lot of gripes with this story. I think it's really well done. I think it deserves its reputation. I do think it's one of the best Cybermen stories. And it's definitely better than pretty much any of the Cybermen stories they do in the modern series, because again, the Cybermen are a threat in this. They're dangerous, they're deadly. You definitely fear them in this story, and that's just not done in modern Who much. So yeah, Earthshock, really like it, very deserving of its reputation. And as much as I love Revenge of the Cybermen, especially considering Revenge of the Cybermen has a better Doctor and better companions, and I think a better side story with what's going on with the Vogons, I still think overall Earthshock is the better story objectively, just because it is done on this more grand scale and it's pulled off very, very well. So what do you think of Earthshock? Let me know down in the comments below. I always enjoy hearing from you guys. Other things to do, click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. I also have a Patreon if you would like what I do and would like to contribute to what I do. There is a link to that down in the description below. I've been doing several things there lately, posting bloopers. I ranked the Doctors recently. I'm also going to be getting into the habit of posting some videos early. I already have my review for The Visitation went up a couple weeks early there. I'll be doing other early access videos for that now. So if that's something you're interested in, check that out. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.